I work a lot with the Amish, and I just finished an assessment on a home, and for the first time in probably 7 or 8 years, I recommended that they tear the house down and build a new one. And it's really, really rare that you would ever consider making that kind of recommendation. So I thought it'd be a good story to tell you. So I get this phone call, and the children are sick. They have 2 children, little ones, and they're both whacking and quacking and squeezing and so on. Consider an emergency. So I run out here, and it's an old house. It was built probably 1910, 1915, and it's way out in the middle of nowhere. And so whenever you run into these kind of houses, a lot of times it's sort of like homemade stuff is used. So the first thing you do is you check out the foundation to make sure that the house is sitting on something solid. So what I found was, instead of a regular cinder block foundation wall, it's almost like they used a mud pack of gravel and mud, and they made the foundation from that instead of regular cement, instead of pouring cement. Well, it's crumbling, and the house is starting to sag, and so that's the first problem. And also you can't stop the water from coming in. So every time it rains, it migrates into the basement and kind of has a couple of big puddles. That's the first problem. Because if you don't have a good foundation to set the house on, everything above the foundation is at risk. So then I go upstairs, and so there's mold on all the overhead floor joists. There are 2 crawl spaces. All the foundation is the same. There's no vapor barrier or concrete in these crawl spaces. So, and there's mold all over the floor joists. So they're going to drop a lot of money just to remove the mold and to put in a vapor barrier and all that. That's without touching the foundation. So then you go upstairs, and the house is completely made out of Latham plaster. Well, in Ohio, we used a lot of horsehair for the binder of the plaster, and but still there's a risk of using asbestos. So you'd have to have an asbestos survey done to make sure that it's okay, because if you, say, take one room at a time, you gut the Latham plaster out, insulate the walls, rebuild it with drywall, you're at risk of having asbestos go through the house. There's no insulation at all in the attic. There's no insulation in the walls. The floor is extremely variable, meaning there's high points and low points. So, we sit down and we talk about this, and we come to the conclusion that, time has value as well. So if you spend 2 years working on this house every weekend to make it right, what is the difference between that investment and the cost of the house versus just dropping it and putting up another one? So he came to the conclusion that, he would rather not sacrifice 2 years of his life and have a house built in 1910 rather than drop it and build a new house with all new materials, because he's only 23, 24 years old. So he's going to be there. And so that was the decision. I think if the foundation had been in good condition, the conversation would have been different. He would have done it. But because the foundation to the house was so poor, it was better to start over.